Good morning. 11 o'clock down here, 12 o'clock up there. So, how's everything going along? Monday was kind of quiet. The articles I read this morning were Trump's New York case with a judge is saying that he can go to jail, that it's quite possibly he might go to jail. If they jail him before the election, there will be so much violence involved. It wouldn't be funny. Uh, I would, I would, I don't know if I sentence him to jail. I just don't know what happens when he gets if he wins the election. But I do know if he gets a jail sentence, he's going to go berserk. He's going to. That's another judge that's going to be on his list of people to be shot right after the election. It's a strange law. I don't understand if they could do it or not. I mean, I think it would be really viewed as a completely political move, one that I don't think will have a lot of non-support from everybody. I don't think anybody's going to think that's a good idea to put him in jail the day of right at the election. But I'm not a politician. I'm not a judge. I think it would be a very, very political move if it's done that way. So you guys like to see what I do besides sit here and be fat and talk to you? I do. I make little desktop clocks and wall hanging clocks and whatnot. It's basically I just drill a hole and put this piece in, but it's the design I do by hand and that I burn into the wood and everything. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's crooked. Like everything else I do, it's screwed up. All right. Another issue that came up is Kamala wants to debate, says she wants to debate Trump. Trump wants to change the rules, wants it to go on Fox so that he has more control over the moderation and whatnot. Because what he wants to be able to do is to interrupt any answer that makes sense and interrupt Kamala whenever he feels like it, so that it's a disruptive, his typical disruptive behavior. Because if he has to answer the questions legitimately, he won't be able to do it. I know it. Everybody knows it. It's just a thing that he does. He's not going to allow. He's not going to allow her to give a complete answer, because he can't answer questions on the issues because he doesn't even know what the issues are. I mean, this is a man that from what I remember reading about him in his first term was he didn't read newspapers, or I don't know whether he read any magazines or not, but he was primarily a TV watcher. Watched the news constantly, wanted to see what his ratings were, things like that. He's very conscious of his public persona where the media is concerned, but he doesn't read. He didn't read the national security reports that he got every day. So he wasn't really, he was always unaware of what was exactly going on unless somebody whispered in his ear. Now, I don't know whether that's true of all presidents. I have no, they didn't really pay attention to other presidents, I don't think, when they did that. But in my opinion, if you don't read the security advisors, if you don't believe in your intelligence community, then where do you get your ideas? It's strictly your ideas, I mean, I find it hard that people forget that he once told people that he thought Clorox might be a cure for COVID-19. You know, I mean, I don't think anybody was dumb enough to drink the stuff because I didn't hear of any deaths or damage being done by that. You know, it was just a stupid move on his part. You know, and I don't think it was serious, but I still think it was something he shouldn't have said. You know. He says a lot of things that he shouldn't say. He says things that aren't relevant to anything. And that's why I don't believe that a debate without rules is a good idea, because it's not a debate. Then it's just a platform for him to yell and scream and call people names. You know, I mean, he wants to call me names. Yeah, I'll debate him. He could stand up there and call me names all night long. I just stand there. I'll just get the station off the air by simply standing and looking at him and say, "Go fuck yourself, you fat piece of shit." You know, that's the end of that conversation. Next, uh, it's just unbelievable the stuff that we have to put up with in this election. I mean, you have a criminal, he's convicted. All right, he's not sentenced yet, but he's a convicted criminal. He's looking for ways to get it overturned, to get out of it, whatever, you know. I don't think that's a good look for the United States, especially when you have people like Maduro down in Venezuela, who's basically fixed the election, arrested half the people that wanted to vote against him, and removed them from the electoral process. That's something Trump would like to do. But he can't do that here. He can come close, but he can't do that here. You know, there'll be investigations after this. I don't think anybody's going to be able to govern for at least a year after this election because of all of the bullshit that's going to go on afterwards, you know. And it's going to go to the Supreme Court. Biden's sitting there. He's trying to rearrange a seat. That's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen. You've got the two Republican dickheads, Jordan and Mitchell, standing around saying, "Well, that's no." Yeah, well, as my grandson goes, no. So that's that's just another thing that's supposed to happen that won't happen. It's nice that he said it and everything like that, but it's a good idea. But he should be smart enough to realize it's not going to happen. But the thing is that if Trump loses the election and let's say that the House and the Senate both go Democratic, then there's going to be then the changes will be made almost immediately, because they'll say, well, we put this out there and you went on a partisan line basis and said no. Well, here's the change now. The constitutional amendment part about it, if I remember it, it has to be ratified by the states before it becomes it goes into the Constitution. And as far as I know, they never ratified the something to do with women. I remember the last it didn't get passed or something like that. I don't know. It's the news cycle. If you the way the news takes a look at you and says, okay, you have the retention span of a fly. Therefore, if we want you to know this, or if we want you to influence you, we'll pound you with this every day. But if we don't want you to know this story, if this is not an issue that we think you should be concerned with, and this is not you saying it, this is the media and the politicians saying it, then we'll just run it for a day and then we'll forget about it. And nobody will know anything about it. That's a crazy situation, you know. I mean, how do you find out stuff? You got to go back and research it. And I'm not sure. I have trouble finding things now, and I'm not sure if it's because it's me are because of the internet or if it's because of where I live. I'm not, researching is not the easiest thing in the world for me to do anymore. Might be my age. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not asking the right questions. Um, let's see. The Olympics are going on, and they're advertising that this is what brings the athletes. No, it doesn't bring countries and athletes together. Okay, because there's too much of an emphasis on domination. Like the Chinese and the Russians, they want to dominate certain sports. So there's too much emphasis on that as opposed to sportsmanship. Although there is plenty of, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of sportsmanship in the Olympics, but there's too much professionalism in the Olympics. It's not the amateur sports it was designed to be when it was first invented, and then it went until the '60s when the pros started entering it. 70s maybe. When we had when our hockey team was all amateurs, and we played the Russians, which were considered to be professionals, and we beat them that time, and man, that was so great. That was bringing the country together. That was getting everybody excited about a sport. Half the people didn't know anything about, but they watched it, and they thought it was great. It was great. It was a great game. It was a great thing for America. It's That's what it should be, but that's not what it is. You know, it's like when you talk about the presidents or the leaders of countries, they're supposed to be looking out for the people in the country. Not just the rich people, everybody. Uh, it doesn't seem like it's being done that way. It seems like it's catering to rich people, whether it's you say it's the Republican Party. It could be, but I bet, any party that's in power, you have to watch closely, to see what's going on. Um, there's a lot of bills get passed that look like they're good for you. It was like, oh God, before I came down here, years before I came down here, there was a cable bill in New Jersey before Congress, and they passed the bill. And I was paying, like I think maybe $11, $12 for cable, HBO, everything, and that's a long time ago. And in the next year, in the next, I'm going to say, let's say it's 10 years before I left. So in the next 10 years, it went from that $12 or $15 up to $156 or $158 or something like that for the same amount of television, and if they did anything, they added a lot of useless stations that nobody watches, you know. So that was what they do is, and how they did it was that in the bill is great, but they put what they call riders on these bills, and nobody looks at these riders. These riders are actually made into law, and more than likely they're going to screw somebody. It's as simple as that. That's how it's done. Because in order to get the big bill passed that they want, that's either going to help them get reelected, that's going to help their party in the reelection or whatever, they have to make a compromise, and that compromise is giving the shaft to somebody else. It's just that's why I liked it when Biden and McCain were senators and whatnot, and they went around and they would sit down and discuss things, and they get mad at each other. They didn't they would like each other one day or something like that, but they went around and they did that, and they worked it out. That's what Congress and the Senate's all about. That's what you're supposed to be doing down there, not sitting around going to lunch, getting golf tee times, living the great life. That's it's got nothing to do with it. You get rich. They all come out richer than they were when they went in. And people say, well, Well, basically, it's not because they don't even have to steal for that to happen. They don't pay for anything. You know, in their home states, a lot of them, go around travel for nothing. They end up in their family ends up in visiting Paris for the. I'm surprised that some of them aren't over in Paris for the Olympics right now. You know, I think that part of the problem with that right now is that it's too dangerous for them to do something public like that. They'll do a side tour to Macau or something like that. Just a little bit on the side. Well, I made it 15 minutes without completely forgetting everything I was talking about. I probably forgot some of it. I will be back tomorrow. Um, I think I'm going to start doing other videos too, the old videos, because I'm not sure these are going out the way I want them to. I don't know enough about this yet. I have to sit there and see what I can do. Um, but in the meantime, you guys take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.